Hello and welcome. My name is Karis Johns, and I'm a marriage and family therapist practicing in rural Wisconsin. I've been wanting to share many things for quite some time, but I've been waiting, I think, timidly perhaps, to cultivate greater video editing skills or learn more about what it takes to put together a channel on something like YouTube. But I think I finally decided that the need out there is too great for what I'm looking to offer, and the time is now. So here I am. I started this channel because it became clear that there are a lot of hurt people in our world right now, and they aren't being given the attention they need and the help that they need. And that completely goes against my code of ethics to ignore that any longer. Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, of course I'm referring to the medical harm that's been done to so many people. I'm also referring to the subsequent medical trauma that's happened as folks have realized they've been hurt and have attempted to get help from their medical professionals who've ignored them or shushed them up or told them that they're crazy and that their symptoms are not real. Or even just simply said, "I'm sorry, we can't help you. We don't believe you." You know, I read recently that in America today, medical error is the third leading cause of death in the United States. And that's just the ones they'll admit to, the ones we've been able to calculate and count. You can probably bet the number is higher even than number 3. Now just imagine what that number is like, given what we've all experienced in these last 2 years. And if medical error was already the third leading cause of death before this latest great rollout of harm, we just can't even imagine how high it must be now. Now imagine how high the numbers are for medical trauma. And now combine those two, medical errors and medical trauma. We're talking about millions and millions of people every single year. This could be the biggest problem that we have right now. I want to help. I want to use the skills that I have to provide a forum and an outlet and a safe place for people to express their experiences and to share their stories. So if you or someone you know has been hurt and is not finding the support that they need, either through the medical establishment or through your friends and family, coworkers, and community at large, you are welcome here. My intention is to form an online support group for those who have been injured and their friends, family, and loved ones. The reason why I feel this is important is because it is so incredibly harmful to be negated after you've been injured, to be gaslit, to be shamed, to be othered, simply because you've been hurt. That has got to stop. I also just think it's important for me to add my voice to the growing body of professionals who are coming out and saying, this was wrong. This was wrong and we need to acknowledge it now. And we need to make the necessary repairs. This idea has been just burning a hole in me for the last year. I walked away from the biggest contract of my career because of my decision to no longer align with institutions which engage in human rights abuse. This was really scary for me to do. It was really hard to walk away. And I still don't know exactly what's going to happen next. But I have so much faith that if I just continue to listen to my intuition, that it will guide me to where my helpfulness is needed most. And with that in mind, I am here now to offer what I have in terms of skillfulness and an open heart and a deep well of compassion to those who are currently not being acknowledged. We are going to have to grieve as a culture. We are going to have to acknowledge what has been lost. We're going to have to get real about what harm has been done. None of that's going to be easy. And I don't think we should do it alone. I think we're so much better together. It's really our only chance to move forward in a healthy way as a human collective. We have to grieve these losses, and we have to face them. And that's going to take dedication, effort, and places such as this. I want to provide a forum for everyone to share their story. A statistic came out 2 weeks ago that stated that 1 in every 4 Americans currently knows someone who died, and they suspect it was because of the thing. 1 in 4. And yet not one of those people who feels that way, who's experienced that loss, has appropriate resources to deal with that grief. In fact, we're now witnessing the biggest gaslighting campaign in the world's history to shut those voices down. I'm not going to let that happen. Are you? And yet the harm continues. People are still convinced that these things, these Jabberwockies, are somehow in their best interest. And some people are still taking them. Some people are still giving them to their kiddos. So the gaslighting campaign continues. You know what I found is that the one most helpful psychological intervention to help people deal with this unbelievable psychological bind we're in is to turn off the TV. I turned off my TV in May of 2020, and I haven't turned it back on since. That may have saved my life. So how do we combat something that's so big? A misinformation campaign that is so all permeating. I think we have to do it individually by lifting up our own individual voices. What we are acknowledging and attempting to heal from is not human error. It's not medical mistakes. It's not a misguided attempt to save humanity from a nasty virus. What we have experienced and what we are grappling with today is, it's evil. And those of us who have put the pieces together are very lonely in that knowledge. It is a bit of a black pill. And we need a safe place to come together and acknowledge the realities of our wounded world. We don't need to be continuously gaslit by the mainstream media or our neighbors or the community at large who thinks we're somehow down the rabbit hole a little too far. I think that's another piece of what I want to do here, is to add some legitimacy to what may sound conspiratorial. And if you're one of the folks who had a friend or a coworker or a relative who was like me and being conspiratorial and whispering about this evil agenda or something like that, and you yourself heard them, thought it made a little bit of sense, but decided that prospect is too psychologically frightening for me to create space for inside my psyche, and therefore no. If you're one of those people, I just want you to know that's okay. You get the right to be here too, and you're welcome. No judgment to you for being unequipped emotionally or psychologically to handle something so ugly. How could we ever fault you for that? For not wanting to entertain the notion that we are the carbon they aim to reduce. And I hope you can forgive yourself for being not yet able to metabolize or process something so ugly. And you get to be in that place of safety for yourself as long as you need. And if you should choose to step out of that, please know we are here for you and we will not judge you. Again, I gotta say, you are welcome here. I read recently something that really chilled me to the bone, but said it so clearly. It was, imagine watching people around you dropping like flies and knowing that you have the same poison coursing through your veins. So again, no judgment. Wherever you are at in terms of your stages of readiness to process reality about this, you get to be right where you are. But just know that this place is specifically built and meant for those of us who bravely and courageously chose to see the truth, the unpopular truth, the ugly truth, the inconvenient truth. And this channel is for you specifically because I know how lonely, painful, tiresome, othering, shaming this whole experience has been. And we have got to come together to offer each other some support. Because those guys out there, the general population right now, the ones watching the TV, they are not yet ready to hold space for all of the shades of reality that we are. So they can't offer us the safety that we need to express what we feel. We have to build those spaces ourselves. Early on, in this whole situation, I took myself off of social media and I joined alternative sources of social media, things like Telegram. And what I found on those platforms was that there was a lot of bile, bitterness, vitriol, anger, understandably so, toward those who had done the campaign of lies, and also toward those who had taken in those lies themselves. And I don't want to settle for that. Sure, I want to get together and talk to people who are like-minded, but not to throw the NPCs under the bus. Because let me tell you something. Thinking of other human beings as normies or NPCs is just another ego trap. And that's just not quite good enough for me, for healing, for any of us, really. But I know, with how hurt we have all been, with how scary this has all been, it has felt comforting at times to commiserate with one another in a negative manner about all those stupid people out there who took the thing and don't realize and are justifying their actions and behaviors, meanwhile rejecting us. I know. But that's not it. Looking down on others isn't it. I've heard a lot of whispers in this last year about the splitting. Maybe you've heard about this too, this idea that humanity has now taken two strands. There's some over here, there's some over here, but they are no longer one cohesive whole unit. Almost as if those who have fell for this are in a camp all unto themselves now and can no longer be redeemed, reached, met, understood, communicated with or even related with. And that these other folks over here who were able to exert critical thinking are somehow now in this clean category, right? I need to provide some antidote to that as well. It feels very important to me to reject that concept altogether. I know it's tempting. Again, I gotta acknowledge how very seductive the idea is when we've been so hurt and trampled by the quote-unquote normies. It's so tempting and alluring to just other them right back, right? To write them off as irredeemable. What an ego trap, though. What a total ego trap. And guys, we're better than that. So no, I don't believe in some separation. I believe in unity. And I believe that we are going to need every last human in order to get where we are going. We cannot leave anyone behind. We cannot cast anyone aside. That's what I believe. And I know that there are those who are watching right now who are completely overcome with hopelessness, who are so embittered and so hurt that they feel overcome by the trauma. I want to tell you, if you feel that way, you're not alone. And we need you. And we are here for you. And we will not be leaving you behind in your time of grief, in your time of need. Your pain matters. Your story matters. And this is going to be a place where we can all be heard. So if you have a story to share and you're ready to share it, drop your story in the comments. Share it with us. Don't hold it alone anymore. Allow us the gift of unburdening you so that we can all be unburdened together. And if you're still struggling, please know that I will be reserving limited hours every week to dedicate to those who would like to reach out and seek individual support from me. There is such a great unmet need out there, and I'm only one human, but I think this can be the start of our healing together. And if we can think creatively, we can find solutions and ways to address the wrongs we've experienced that will far outshine whatever we could come up with all by our lonesome. So I know I'm just one human, but I think together we're going to create a healing community that is very needed at this time. I want to thank you for sticking with this message the whole way through. And if you did, I have a feeling it's because you are hurting. And I just want you to know you matter. And you are welcome here. And so is your truth. Thank you. Until next time, I'm Karis. Be well.